Thanks for listening to the Dr. Phil podcast. If you haven't already, go ahead and click follow and subscribe so you don't miss any of our episodes. Because if I do say so myself, this is important content. Well, joining me now is Chief of Patrol John Chell and Deputy Mayor for Public Safety Kaz Daughtry. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me this morning.
Our pleasure,
How
Dr.
are you,
Phil.
sir? Thank you.
We're here talking about a very tragic event that happened just about 36 hours ago now, a shooting that took place in a park in Washington Heights. Can you give us the facts behind the story? What took place?
Dr. Phil, we've seen this show before in the last couple of years. We have people in a park enjoying a Saturday night, and in this instance, we have two people on a moped, two migrants on a moped that come in the park, and they rob one person of a cell phone, and then 5 minutes later, they proceed to encounter two people on rocks, and they come up from behind at gunpoint, and they announce a robbery. Fortunately and unfortunately for us, there was a federal officer who was armed, and they got into a shootout over this robbery, and the federal officer got shot multiple times, as did the perpetrator get shot. We now have a strong person of interest, two people in custody for this right now, and the moral of the story is, again, moped robberies, migrants, but these two both had deportation orders, and they had an opportunity to be held by our criminal justice system in New York City, but sanctuary city laws won't allow that. And by virtue of that, they're let back out on the street. And in the case of Mora, he was out in the street and he committed a robbery in December, a stabbing in January, both in the Bronx. Then he took a trip to Massachusetts, Worcester County. They robbed the store at gunpoint, tied up the owner, took some guns and jewelry. Then we don't see him for about 6 months till this past events 36 hours ago. But again, the moral of the story is he shouldn't have been allowed to do this by virtue of his deportation status and our inability to enforce that through sanctuary city laws.
And just let me just add on to what the chief of department said. Here it is, we have an individual that took advantage of the American dream, of the good people that want to come here. As you know, we are a sanctuary city, and when the people come into the city, the mayor is required to give them housing and shelter and so on and so forth. But this suspect, both suspects, took advantage of that, took advantage of the services that the sanctuary cities have to offer, especially in New York City, and committed a vicious act on this Customs and Border Patrol officer. Just imagine if the system would have worked where after the first 3 times when he was arrested for stabbing, robbery, etc., if we would have remanded him on that deportation order and put him on Rikers Island, and we could have called the federal authorities to come take him, that officer that's sitting in the hospital right now, in Harlem Hospital in New York City, would not be there today.
All right, well, let me get this right now. The person of interest here, and we actually have a video of this shooting. Are we allowed to show that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at that video right now of what actually took place. What we see here, what we see in this video are these two suspects pulling up on a moped, and you two have taught me across time that when you see two people like this, particularly two males on a moped, that there's a pretty good chance that this is a robbery team. One is driving, and the one on the back is a snatch and grab type. They're going to be the one that drives by and grabs a purse or grabs a cell phone or whatever. And that's just kind of an MO that takes place in high population areas like Times Square or whatever, correct?
Correct. Let me set the table here for you. In 2021, we had about 450 major crimes committed on mopeds, 2021. When the migrants start coming to New York City roughly around April of 22, we see substantial increases, 22, 23, and 24. 280% increase in crimes committed on mopeds. So what you saw in the park here was nothing new to us, like you just said. Two guys on a moped, riding around, robbing people, snatching people. And the second person apprehended today, Christian Barrero, he has a history in March of 24 of riding around on a moped, snatching jewelry from people. So if you've seen this show before, it really hit us in those years with migrants on mopeds, and this is what we saw in the park on Saturday night.
All right, and as we're seeing in the video, one person gets off the back and starts sneaking up behind these two sitting in the park. And one of these people, as it turns out, unbeknownst to this person, was actually a supervisory CBP officer, which is involved with Border Patrol and was armed. So this suspect pulls out a gun and accosts these people to rob them, and a shootout ensues at this point, and the civilian, who's actually a CBP officer, was shot. Understand he was shot in the face, is that correct?
Yes.
And he returns fire and shoots the suspect, who later presented to the hospital with gunshot wounds. So he was in custody, and who's now been, this is Miguel Mora, and Deputy Mayor, that's who you're describing as an individual that has a misdemeanor assault warrant, an order of protection, a no-show bench warrant, 2 arrests in New York, wanted for a stabbing in the Bronx in January of 25, a robbery in 12/16 of 24, and an extradition warrant to Massachusetts for kidnapping and weapons charges. That's the individual we're talking about, Miguel Mora.
That is correct, Dr. Phil.
Now, he had a deportation order as well.
That is correct, yes, sir. He did.
To the Dominican Republic.
Right, that order was issued on November 6th. So when he gets arrested on November 30th in New York City for violating that order of protection, that information will be seen by a judge. However, he or she cannot act upon that because of the sanctuary city laws. So he has to be released. He cannot be held for ICE. And therein lies the issue. We are just asking for a thoughtful conversation as to how can we work with our federal partners for criminal aliens like that versus the good migrants that want to be here and pursue the dream. Because again, like I said earlier, if that judge has the ability to do that, we're not sitting here having this conversation today. And the conversation looms around, these are victims. These are New Yorkers. That was a Border Patrol protection officer, but he was in New York enjoying a park on a Saturday night like anybody else. So we shouldn't be in this position right now. And that's the crux of our thoughtful argument here.
All right, well, what I'm trying to understand here is you're telling me that because of being a sanctuary state and city, that a judge who has in front of them that this person has this record of these crimes and has a warrant out and has a deportation order, that when they come before them again, they have to turn them loose again?
They cannot fulfill that detainer for that person. No, they cannot.
Okay, what do they have to do to be, what's the threshold? What do they have to do to incarcerate this person? Hey, Dr. Phil here. Your savings are at risk. With the economy on shaky ground, the dollar losing value, and a $2 trillion deficit, things could spiral. Don't wait for the worst. Take control of your financial future now. I trust Preserve Gold to safeguard my accounts, and I urge you to do the same. They're the only precious metals company I recommend. What are you going to do to protect what's yours? Claim your special offer and learn how to reinforce your financial future. Visit drphilgold.com to get your free precious metals guide from Preserve Gold. With gold prices recently breaking records and analysts predicting this trend to continue through 2025, you cannot afford to wait. As a bonus, you can get up to $15,000 with a qualified purchase from Preserve Gold. So don't wait. Visit drphilgold.com today. What do they have to do to incarcerate this person?
City council has to change the rules. The mayor doesn't have the ability to do that. That is from the city council. The mayor just signs laws into act. He doesn't make them. And you know, the mayor, as I'm not sure if you know, but he's a law and order mayor. He lets the public safety officers and the NYPD and all the public safety teams in the city go out there and, you know, restore order to New York. Like, he doesn't want to have a city of lawlessness. That's one of his favorite lines that I like and I use all the time, where he tried to work with the federal authorities. I'm sorry, not the mayor, but when the deputy mayor, the first deputy mayor, Randy Mastro, came on, and he took an independent look on whether or not we should have the federal agencies on Rikers Island. Not only did he, after he finished his independent analysis, separate from the mayor, he did his own analysis on how we should operate on Rikers Island. And he came back with the conclusion, First Deputy Mayor Randy Mastro, not only should we allow ICE, but we should allow all of our federal partners, from DEA to FBI to the postal inspectors, etc. And when he signed the executive order, before the federal authorities, our federal partners, could even step foot onto Rikers Island, the city council then sued the administration for saying that they're violating Sanctuary City's policies.
Let me ask you this. If this person that we're talking about had been a United States citizen and they had this assault, an order of protection, a bench warrant out, wanted for a stabbing in the Bronx in 25, a robbery in 24, and an extradition, wanted extradition to, was it Massachusetts? If this person had been a citizen, would the judge have been able to hold them?
So for the extradition, he should have been able to hold him to Massachusetts. But the thing is that robbery took place after the hearing. So only the judge could do right there is try to set bail on the violation of order of protection. But that was his choice not to. So he could have set bail. He didn't set bail, and then he couldn't honor the detainer. So he walks out the door. Again, this should never have happened.
But the judge could have held him if he set bail and the bail couldn't have been made, then he could have been held.
Correct. Order of protection is bail eligible, so he could have.
He could have, but didn't.
Right. So this goes into bail reform laws. This goes into sanctuary city laws, and this is why we're in this boat sometimes with conversations like this.
Yeah, and people automatically, and this is in this role as a deputy mayor for public safety, you know, not including my 20 years experience in the police department, but the people are always blaming the mayor for this. Like, he didn't create this. He came into this. This is what he inherited when he took office 3 years and a couple of months ago.
And sometimes, Dr. Phil, you'll hear people like, well, why can't he sign an executive order? He cannot sign executive orders in New York City to overwrite a rule. Like the deputy mayor just said, he inherited Sanctuary City. He's lobbied our council to make adjustments to it under this topic. The first deputy mayor with Rikers Island getting our federal partners on that to help. So he's been trying to help this situation. He's getting blamed for it, but there's not much he could do in this situation. So we have work to do.
So no matter who the mayor is controlled by whatever rules he inherits from what, the county commissioners? Is that the issue?
City council.
The city council, I'm sorry, from the city council. So why would the city council want these people released back into the city? If they've got somebody that they know is a bad actor, know is committing violent crimes, what is the theory of releasing these people back into the city amongst innocent New Yorkers? What is the theory? Do you know?
I can't speak on behalf of that. I don't know what the thought process is from the city council members, but I can tell you that I can speak on behalf of what the administration, what the mayor is doing. He is laser focused on public safety. He doesn't want to see public safety threats on New York City, whether if you're a migrant, a U.S. citizen, if you commit harm or if you, to any one of our New Yorkers, you know, he wants the police department to come in and restore order. And I can't say this again, we work with the federal, I can't say this enough, we work with the federal authorities when it comes to criminal matters. We don't get involved in civil deportation. We don't get involved in civil matters with the feds. We only can assist with criminal investigations. And for the good folks, for the good migrants that are here, that are working in our restaurants, that are the food delivery workers, that or whoever, whatever type of jobs that they have here in the city, they come in here seeking the American dreams. They're trying to follow the rules to become on the pathway to become citizenships for citizenships. However, that numericals, whether it's large or small individuals, a population that want to come here and take advantage of our vulnerable New Yorkers, we're not going to tolerate that, and we're going to go after you. We're going to aggressively go after you.
And you have gone after these two people of interest, and they have been arrested now, correct?
Yeah, they both been apprehended. One is in the hospital with the gunshot wounds, and that's Mora, who has the wants for the robbery, wants for the stabbing, wanted by Massachusetts, and then his partner Christian Barrera was apprehended this morning, so he's facing charges also as the Southern District works through that. So it's great that they're off our streets in New York City. It's great that we can keep them safer. But like I said, we shouldn't have been in this position in the first place.
Well, but the policies that put you in this position, are they the policies of the mayor or are they the policies of the city council?
The city council makes the laws and they pass the laws. The mayor inherited the laws. Like I said, he can't overwrite the laws with an executive order. And if he lobbies them to make adjustments, it's up to them whether they make that adjustments. He really can't do much in this regard other than speaking.
Yeah, this was inherited under the previous administration, under the former mayor de Blasio. So he didn't have anything to do with these sanctuary city laws or rules. Like, this is something that he inherited. It was here before he got here.
Well, so the mayor is interested in getting dangerous criminals off the street.
He have been steadfast in this message for at least the last 2 years. Migrants who commit violent crimes in the city, we want them to be adjudicated here if possible, but at the very least be removed from our country. We have not wavered off that theme in the last 2+ years.
Is that true of the NYPD? Are they cooperating with FBI, DEA, ICE, whoever, to get dangerous criminals off the street? Is that the policy of the NYPD?
Criminal investigations. Criminal investigations, their police commissioner has put even more officers and detectives into the federal task forces, working with the FBI, DEA, ATF, HSI, only on criminal matters. Civil matters, the city cannot cooperate with that when it comes to civil matters.
Yeah, Dr. Phil, we got about 44 gang takedowns this year in New York City with our detective bureau. Some of them are done with the local DA's office, but a large portion are done with our federal partners to speak to this topic. When it comes to criminal matters, we work with them every single day. And by virtue of 44 gang takedowns, it's contributing to our massive decrease in shooting and homicide violence in New York City in 2025.
Because you've been taking down MS-13, you've been taking down different gangs that are wreaking havoc on the citizens of New York City. NYPD is committed to do that.
Tren de Aragua, TDA, we've taken them down. I think the Border Czar came up here a couple of weeks ago to announce that takedown. Over 100 guns, Dr. Phil. 100 guns. How are migrants getting guns into New York City, which you have to ask yourself? Over 100 guns, 27 individuals were indicted by the Southern District. In our public safety team, the NYPD, working in collaboration with HSI and the rest of the folks and our federal partners to announce that the 18th Street gang on Roosevelt Avenue, they were operating sex trafficking women on Roosevelt Avenue in Queens, New York, really terrorizing that whole strip there from 69th Street, 68th Street, all the way down to about 80th Street on Roosevelt Avenue, which is very prolific when it comes to migrants kind of migrating to that area, because it's where they feel comfortable at, because it's where you got Ecuadorians, Argentinians, Venezuelans, there's El Salvadorians, Peruvians. Like, that's just a real Latino community there. But this gang was going there, extorting business owners in the stores, sex trafficking, making fake passports, fake social security cards. So we would work together with our federal partners. We announced about maybe a couple of weeks ago where we took down 9 individuals were indicted in regards to that. And that's the kind of cooperation that we want to deal with our federal partners on, going after these hardcore criminal migrants that are committing acts of violence and serious public safety threats here in our city.
Homeowners, when's the last time you checked on your home title? If your answer is never, then this is for you. Scammers are stealing titles, and your equity is the target. Criminals forge your signature, and just like that, your home title can be transferred out of your name. That's why I partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code Phil at HometitleLock.com and you'll get a free title history report. Plus, you'll get a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code Phil. So, to be clear, Chief Chell, on behalf of NYPD and Deputy Mayor Daughtry, on behalf of the police department and the mayor's office, you are committed to cooperating with your federal partners to get criminal elements off the streets of New York City, to protect New Yorkers. No question about it. You are cooperating. You do have your federal partners' backs when something like this happens.
Absolutely. On criminal matters, no doubt about it. On civil matters, again, we're stuck in a sanctuary city posture, but on criminal matters, we support our brothers and sisters in the federal government. They support us, and the proof is in the pudding in terms of the work we've done together under the banner of public safety as relates to property crime and violence. We really have done a nice job with them.
And Mayor Adams supports both of you in those roles in doing that.
100%, like, you know, to double down what the Chief Chell says, we are all in. We're going to put all our eggs in the basket with the feds in regards to going at criminal matters and going after the real public safety threats, the real dangerous migrants that commit harm and acts of violence in New York City. We are joined at the hip. We stand shoulder to shoulder with them on the criminal matters, but the civil matters we cannot get involved in due to the sanctuary restrictions from New York City.
All right, tell me how this shooting victim is doing. The supervisory border patrol agent. How is this victim doing?
Yep. So yesterday, the mayor, the police commissioner, myself, and the Chief Chell, we visited the agent at the hospital. I'm sorry, the officer at the hospital, and he's in good spirits. He's still heavily sedated. We were in communication with his family. The family shared with us that they appreciate the thoughts and prayers from all the New Yorkers, and they did love the city's response as well as the police department's response and the federal response. They've been overwhelmed, and they are just extremely happy that their loved one is going to make it. The bullet did, when he got shot during the exchange of gunfire, one of the rounds entered the side of his cheek, took out several teeth, and the bullet is still lodged in the lower part of his neck. So yesterday they were supposed to do surgery to remove that bullet, because when he first got to the hospital, he had to have the emergency surgery to stop the bleeding. In whatever area in the region in that part of the neck that was that needed to be controlled. So the doctors, and I just want to thank the hospital staff over at Harlem Hospital, who basically saved this officer's life. Then they were supposed to have surgery today to remove that bullet, but his face was still swollen, so they're waiting for that swelling to go down. He does come out of sedation here and there, and he's able to communicate by hand gestures, but he's extremely happy to be alive, and he's extremely happy with all the support, and he just overwhelming support that everybody's coming together. The whole city is coming together, banding together, and praying for the speedy recovery for this border agent.
And Dr. Phil, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the uniformed cops in the 33rd precinct. That park, you couldn't get an ambulance down there, and those cops didn't hesitate to get him in the car and take him to the hospital right away. So I want to mention that they did a good job on the stress, and they didn't hesitate. Yeah,
and let me add that I actually was able to watch the body camera video of that, and just the officers stabilizing his head, because you have to stabilize the head before you move the body. And for one of the officers on the scene saying, because immediately when they got there, when you see a law enforcement officer in need of assistance, no matter what your patch says on your shoulder, if it's NYPD, if it's Customs, if it's LAPD, your action is that's your fellow brother and sister there. You go into a different state of emotions because it's one of our own that was injured, and immediately you just want to throw him in a car and get him to the hospital. One of the officers that was on the scene says, "Hey, we can't move him yet. Let me stabilize his head first." And they were able to stabilize his head first and slowly and methodically put him in the back of the car. And the officer sat back there holding his head while he got to the hospital, and just a remarkable job, because we could have injured him. And kudos to those officers for saving this Border Patrol officer's life, and we should do something for them. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely heroic actions on their part, and the suspect or person of interest, however you describe the alleged perpetrator in this, is this person seriously injured?
He shot one time in the stomach, and he will survive his injuries. In the groin, but he will survive his injuries.
So he will survive, and when he's ready to be released from the hospital, what will happen to him?
He'll eventually be charged with, obviously, attempted murder of the federal officer and a slew of other charges that we want him for in New York City. Not to mention the Worcester County, Massachusetts, gunpoint robbery, kidnapping, tying up the owner. So I got a funny feeling we won't be seeing him for a long time.
Yeah, he's actually being charged federally too, so the feds have taken over.
Well, I'm sorry that it had to come to this, to take this obvious bad actor off the street. Clearly, it wasn't like, wow, I've gotten myself in trouble, I need to start behaving now, because he was back out allegedly doing these things all over again. So, and it's good that it's caught on video. How was the video captured?
So that's CCTV cameras that the park had up. And obviously I have them in the right spot. I mean, we're so glad we got that video, because it really painted a picture, obviously. But we do have cameras in our parks in New York City. Not all of them, but they, as a crime prevention tool and as a tool for probative evidence, man, do they pay dividends for us in the city.
Yeah, the Parks Department put those small-scale cameras up there, those covert cameras, because we had last year, a year and a half ago, we were seeing the uptick that Chief Chell was talking about in regards to the moped robberies, which they were coming along that pathway. If you've seen from the video there, there's a little walk path there, pathway where the scooters would come up and snatch your phone out of your hand, or snatch your cell phone, your chain or your pocketbook or your purse. So they strategically put cameras up in certain areas in the park. And also, We had a really big ATV, dirt bike, and scooter problem 2 years ago, and we put those cameras there to try to identify those groups. And the cameras never have came down. By the grace of God, we were able to capture this incident on video and to help us, prohibitively, the detectives, to apprehend these two individuals, that persons of interest for this crime.
Well, that's great, and thank you for sharing that video with us. And Chief Chell, Deputy Mayor Daughtry, thank you for sitting down and talking to us about this. I think obviously this story is tragic. It's spread like wildfire, and I think people want to know, with somebody that's got this kind of record, this many charges, why they're walking the streets. And you've answered that question very well, and I think people are glad to hear that this is not Mayor Adams' policy, and it's not something he supports at all. It's not something that the NYPD supports at all. It's something that you're living with, and I'm glad these people are off the street now. I'm sorry it took this for that to occur, but I appreciate the two of you taking time out of your very busy schedules to sit down and enlighten us on this, so everybody knows what's actually going on, what's actually happening, because you're working, both of you, and everybody that you supervise are working very hard to keep New York safe, New York City safe, and it is safer. Clearly the numbers indicate that, so I don't want people getting the wrong idea about the Big Apple. So thank both of you for taking time to talk to me about this.
Yeah, Dr. Vellon, thank you.
Doctor.
Thank you for the platform to tell our message and to educate the public on what the facts of what really goes on, not the conjecture.
Yeah, you bet. Glad to do it. Gentlemen, thank you. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.